Welcome back, everyone. This is Erica with Hooking You Up, back with another delicious video. I know my last two videos were kind of long. I hope you guys tuned in for those and enjoyed them. But today we're going to do something, we're going to go back to knit. And we're going to do a mama and me, an adult size, and a toddler size Isle knit heart beanie. This whips up fairly quick once you get the gist of the few stitches that we are going to be doing. I do have another video I'll link down in the description below. It is for a rainbow beanie if you guys are interested in doing that. So let's jump right into the video. I have some Wool Easy Lion Brand Thick Quick. This is the color Fisherman. It's super bulky, and I have some Succulent, also super bulky. So this is going to be the base color of my yarn, and this is going to be the cute little hearts that you'll see. Now, I don't have a beanie already made because I sold all them in the winter time, so I don't have anything to go off of throughout this video, which is fine. We're gonna manage to get it done anyways. So all you'll need for this video is, for this tutorial, video, whichever, there's no right or wrong answer these days. So you'll just need two separate colors of super bulky yarn. I always recommend Lion Brand, I love them. And then this is a, let me make sure, I believe it's a 6mm circular needle. Don't quote me. I'll for sure either have it on the screen or I'll have it in the description below, the size that you'll need. And then I always have a crochet hook on hand, a pair of scissors of course, and then a tapestry needle. So how I'm going to do this tutorial is I'm going to do the adult size first, and then I'm going to do the toddler size. So this will be a split video. I haven't decided. At first I thought about, let me just do two separate videos, and then I was like, this is a super easy pattern once you get the gist of it. So let's just go ahead and combine adult and toddler size. So again, these, I'm going to be showing you guys how to knit a adult size and a toddler size. So what I'm going to do is just take out some of my, I like to have a lot pulled out. All right, I'm gonna bring my camera closer. All right, so we're gonna be doing the long tail cast on version. So let's go ahead and start with the adult size. We're going to be taking our main color, which will be the main base of the color you're wanting. We're gonna hold the end of the tail in our hands just like this, and then this would be the top point. We're going to measure to our the inside of our elbow, pull, and I usually do this about 3 or 4 times. So now I have a long tail, and I'm going to just wrap around just like that. I'm going to bring in my needle. So with your hand placement should look like this. So I'm going to bring my needle inside, over that top, underneath, through, and you've added on your chain. Now I do have a video on how to do a long tail cast on, so In order to not take up too much time in this video, I will link it in the description below so you guys can practice doing this first start. And then once you get the hang of this, it'll be a breeze going forward. So we're going to do the brim of our beanie first, and that's going to consist of 6 rows, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. So what we're going to do is first we're going to cast on 40 stitches. So how to cast on is you want your finger placement to be like this with the yarn, and I'm going to insert through that thumb hole, over, around, through. That's 1. Again, insert, around, through. That's 2. Insert, around, through. That's 3. And I'm going to do a total of 40, not counting this first chain on stitch. Alright, you guys, once you've made it to 40 cast on stitches, you'll still have some of your tail left, which is fine. You want to make sure that this whole inside is lined up. This will be the bottom of your brim. And what I like to do is just leave the tail by itself using this, the rest of this main yarn. What we're going to do, how we're going to connect, is we're going to insert our right side needle, the one with the tail. We're going to insert through the front, but going behind this side. We're going to bring our yarn forward and we're going to pull it through. And now we successfully connected. Our next stitch is going to be purl, so we're going to bring this back yarn forward. I'm going to insert my right side needle through the front. I'm going to grab that yarn and pull it up. So you can see, if you look closely, this stitch is a knit stitch, this stitch is a purl stitch. So now we're going to knit, so we're going to insert through the front, wrap around, pull off. Now we're going to bring forward, insert through the front, grab that yarn, pull off. And we're going to continue alternating until we've made it back to the other side. Now, if you're a beginner knit, which I still consider myself as one, don't beat yourself up if it doesn't come right away, if it doesn't click right away, because in my opinion, knitting is a little more technique and complex than crochet. So especially when you're using both your hands. So take your time to do each stitch and learn it until it sticks, and surely you'll be knocking out beanies like nobody's business. So I'll meet you guys. Okay, you guys, once you've made it back to that last stitch, you'll notice both of them are the knit stitch, which is perfectly fine. It'll be a little loose where you connected, but if you pull this tail end, it will tighten at the connection. And we're going to continue doing this for a total of 6 rows up. And how we count those rows is simple, and basically you'll start at the very first row. So far we have 1, 2, and then we're working our 3rd row on our needle. So once you have 6 rows, the 6th row will be on your needle. So 1, 2, 3. So I'll do 4, 5, and then 6 will be on my needle. So I'll meet you guys there. All right, you guys, once you have your 6th row on your needle, again, I will count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6th one is on the needle. Now we have completed our rows of our 6 rows, and our next row is just going to be knit. Now from here, it's going to be the knit stitch going forward. So we're going to do 1 row of knit right now. So how to work a knit in the purl stitches, what I like to do is just enter through the back, enter through the back, pull it in, enter through the back, pull it in, enter through the back, pull it in. And we'll do this all the way around. The knit stitch is a lot faster than doing knit, purl. So if you're familiar with the knit stitch, then the rest will be, will work up pretty quick. Now, it did take me a while to learn knit stitch, purl stitch, but once I learned it, now I knock out beanies, and one adult beanie will take me 40 minutes. Exactly 40 minutes. I've timed myself 2 different times, and they both 2 different types in patterns. One was this Eisel knit that we're doing, and one was a rainbow knit, and they both came out to 40 minutes. So they do whip up quick, and toddlers would be probably just a little less time than that, since it's less rows and less cast on chains. All right, so once we finish this row of knits, so your 7th row should be all rows of knits. Now the last row, you'll always know what your last row is because your tail end will be sticking out of it. So in my case, it's this one right here. So now I'm going to act like I'm knitting. I'm going to leave a little tail end of my 2nd color. I'm going to hold it with my pinky, just like that. I'm going to wrap around as if I was knitting, which I am doing the knit stitch, but I'm going to continue holding it. I'm going to alternate. I'm going to knit 2 blues, go back, bring in that white, knit 2 blues, bring that white in, knit 1, and by this point you can let go of your tail end. 2 blue, 1 white. And I just hold them in between my hands, my middle finger specifically, and this just helps me to work around in the round much quicker. So excuse any background noise you hear. My dog is playing basketball upstairs. like a toddler. And yeah, so 2 blue, 1 white, 2 blue, 1 white, knit 2 blue, 1 white, and continue this all the way in the round. All right, and you're going to end with 1 blue. All right. Now, if you want to separate your brim rows from your knit rows, you can just put a stitch marker at the 6th row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At the 6th row. And then continue working your way up. All right, so now our 8th row is going to consist of just blues. So we're just going to do knit blue all around. And what I like to do is with that white, and the white tail, we're going to just tie it, not super tight, but this will allow the gap to stay nice and even until we complete our beanie. So now we're just doing our 8th row of all blues. So I will show you guys what the 9th row will look like. It's basically, from here on out, it's going to alternate. 1 row is going to be 2 blues, 1 white, 2 blues, 1 white, and 1 row will be all blues, back and forth. So as you can see, I'm working my row of all blues, which means the next row will be 2 blues, 1 white, 2 blues, 1 white, until you've got the full beanie done. So I'm going to work my last white. All right. What I like to do is start my next 2 rows. As you see, we always end where that tail end is. This is our last row, and you could put a stitch marker there if it's just easier for you to know when you've completed your last row in the round. So now what I like to do is 2 blues, 1 white, and again I like to hold my yarn like this. It just makes it quicker so I don't have to drop the yarn from my hands. I just bring open the white, 2 blues. Notice they both stay in my hand. Bring up the white, 2 blues. Bring up the white, 2 blues. Bring up the white, and complete this until you've completed your next round. Whoops. Now once we complete this round, I'll show you guys how to count your way up. so you know how many rows to complete for an adult size. And then we'll switch over to the toddler size. All right. Now, like I said, our next row is going to be all blues. So you can drop that white. And how I like to work the blues, the blue rows quick, I usually have the yarn and I hold it with my pinky, but I have it laid out in between my ring and my middle finger. And by letting it loose so my tail comes smoothly through my fingers, I usually my pointer finger does the work. So this is the quickest way to do knit and how to knit faster. If you guys would like a video on tips and tricks on how to knit faster, then by all means leave them in the comments below so I can get a video prepared for that. Again, I am not a pro knitter. I still consider myself a beginner. However, I feel like I have learned some tips and trips. I wish I was going on a trip. Tips and tricks on the way that have allowed me to knock out projects quickly. So I'm working the last couple stitches. All right. So I just worked my last stitch, and as you can see, we're getting that heart effect. Super beautiful, and you have your beautiful brim here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. So we're going to do a total of 22 rows up. So not counting this brim part, these first 7 rows, you're going to count up 22 rows. And so 22 rows including this bottom, these 7 down here, that should get you what? 29 rows. Now, 29 rows will get you like a fitted style. I would add a total, including the brim number of stitches you have, including the base of the beanie size stitches. If you have roughly 33 rows total from the brim all the way to the end, if you have between 33 and 35, you will get a nice roomy knit beanie with some space on the top, with a less fitted look, kind of like a slouchy look. So how to count your rows, what I like to do, you can put stitch markers at the end of every row if that's easier for you to count. However, I just stick to one row. So starting after the 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 knit rows so far is what we've completed, and then I have 6 rows of the brim. So 6 plus 5 is 10. So far we've completed 10 rows into our 30 rows total. So 29 to 30 rows will give you the perfect fit for an adult size. So we just finished our row of all blues. So again, we're going to do 2 blue, Let me double check. Oh, excuse me. I didn't finish. That's my mess up. All right, so we're going to do, I just noticed 2 blues, 1 white. That'll put 1 right here. So if you want your beanies kind of spaced out, you can always, it doesn't always have to be 2 blues, 1 white. Sorry to confuse you, but if I were to do 2 blues and 1 white, that'll be too close to this white stitch. So normally I would do, I'll switch it up. So what rows don't have any whites? These ones. So what I'm going to do is a blue row. Then I'm going to add a white row. Then I'm going to do 2 blue rows and just continue this. Now I'm working 1 white row in each of the rows that don't have any whites. And that way your beanie looks super cute and your hearts aren't molded too close together. All right, so I will see you guys at the very end once we've completed a total of 30 rows, including our brim. Now, if you want to do a little less, like I said, between 29 and 33 rows, including the brim, will give you an adult size. It all depends. We all have different head sizes. So my point is, as long as it's between 29 and 33 rows total, you're going to get an adult size. So I will see you guys at the end, and then I'll show you how to weave in everything. All right, you guys, so I didn't realize that I did actually have an extra beanie made. This is an adult size, 30 rows from the brim up. And so I basically just mimicked that, and I did from the brim up 30 rows total for mine. Now, as you can see, this is perfectly even, each row. And I forgot to mention, another way you can, if you don't want to count how many rows or that's just too complicated for you, I did want to let you guys know that once you've done a certain amount of rows, or as you work your way up, you can put this part over your head, just like you're putting on the beanie. And then what I like to do is, while it's on my head, I'll close it like that. So if the brim part covers your ears perfectly and this part closes on the top of your head perfectly and you have plenty of room, then that would be a perfect fit. Now if it's too small, then you can just keep adding rows until you've got your desired length. So now that I've got my desired length, what I'm going to do is, my last row consisted of just all blues, so I'm gonna cut off a good amount of white, and then I'm also gonna cut off a long tail of blue. And what I'm going to do is bring in my tapestry needle. Let me bring my camera down. Tapestry needle. I'm going to get that tail end through my needle, going to tie it, and now what I'm going to do is start closing. I'll bring it through the front, and I'll start inserting my needle through the front. Let me see. Through the middle. See, we're going through the middle. All the way around. Now, I usually just do a couple at a time to make sure that I carefully go through each. And then once we've made our way back around, I'm just going to do a couple more through the front. Now we're going to carefully push the needle off and take it out completely. We're going to put the tail end of that white yarn inside, and we're going to pull the hole close. Alright, now what I like to do is just continue the same thing, just to make the hole super, super tight. Once it's super tight like this, I like to cut across. Make a knot. I'll take it off my needle. And I just make a knot, pull it close, make a double knot, pull it closed, bring in my crochet hook, and I just kind of weave in. This makes it super, super tight, and it stays together for a really long time. Then I cut it, and there you go. Now we're going to put it inside out. Now for this part right here, for this first string, I like to just do the same thing. Tie it, double knot it, I like to weave this, so you're going to knot it the same way. And then I like to just weave it up the row. Cut. And for this one, you don't want to bring it this way because then it'll make a hole. So the way that it's already facing to go, what I like to do is just in the next, or the closest white hole, I just do the same thing I've done to the other ones. Not making it super tight. You're going to double knot it. And then I usually like to just weave it in. So the inside of your beanie will look like this, and the outside of your beanie will look like this. So normally you can kind of tell this part right here is the very beginning. I usually try to make that directly the back, so having it nice and even lined up. You can always scrunch in your brim to make it look extra beautiful. And there you go, you've completed an adult size. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and go over the toddler size, and then you guys will be set to go. Alright, you guys, so for a toddler size, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna take our, since these beanies are going to be for somebody, I'm going to, they're gonna be matching Mama and me beanies, so I'm going to work up slightly the same. They're just going to be a different stitch count, but everything's going to be the same as the adult beanies. So I'm going to have my tail between my pinky and my ring finger, from my elbow, 2, 3, 4. Now I have my long tail cast. I wrap, bring in my needle, so for a toddler size, we're going to go ahead and cast on 33 instead of 40 like the adults. We're going to cast on 33, not including this one. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now go ahead and I will meet you guys at the end. Alright, so I know that all toddler heads have different sizes. So between 33 and 35 stitches would be perfect for a toddler size. Now I cast it on 34. I know I said 33, but after some thought and the measurements that I was given for the person who's going to be wearing this, I decided to do 34. Now, it's not much of a difference, but it is a difference. So, like the previous adult size, to connect, we're going to bring through the front, but poke through the back. Bring this up, pull up. Now we've successfully connected. Make sure your bottom border lines up perfectly. And now we're going to knit, purl. So now we're going to purl, knit, purl. And it might feel a little wonky in the first row or two because it's less stitches, but don't even worry, everything will be fine. So just continue knitting and purling until you've made your way around. All right, I just finished my first row. So now we are going to do a total of 6 rows mimicking the adult beanie. So you can go ahead and just mimic it. You can already see that it's slightly smaller than the adult size because we did less cast on stitches. However, it's going to be fine. So we're going to do a total of 6 rows. So the 6th row will be on your needles. All right, you guys, once I've done my 6 rows with the 6th row being on my needles, I'm gonna go ahead and bring in the white. And mimicking the adult size, I'm going to do 1 white, 2 blue, 1 white, 2 blue, working in the round. And I'll do 1 row of 1 white, 2 blue, 1 white, 2 blue. Once I make it back to the end, I'm gonna do 1 full row of blue. Then once I make it back to the end, I'm gonna do 1 white, 2 blue, 1 white, 2 blue, and so forth. Exactly what we did for our adult size. Now, I know that toddler sizes vary, so what I typically like to do is start with 19 rows up to see if that size would work best for the toddler that I'm making it for. However, I would say generally 19 to 22 rows up, not including the brim, is normally a perfect size for a toddler fit. So like I said, I'm going to be doing this, I'm going to be doing these rows until I have row 19, starting from this first row. And you could put a slip marker so you know what your first row is, and then you'll just count up 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19. So it's going to be slightly smaller than the adult size, but like I said, if you line these up, you can see that the brim's already smaller. So typically having a similar amount of rows up compared to your adult size will be perfectly fine. So I'm going to start with 19 rows, and then I'm going to see if that's a good size for the toddler that I'm making this for. And once I've done 19 rows, I will come back and confirm with you guys, and we'll go from there. So just to summarize what I just said, we're going to do 19 rows total. That's a good size for a snug fit for a toddler. If you want it a little slouchy look or just more room in general, you can go up to 22 rows. There's really not a huge difference, but there's enough difference where you would be able to tell. So 19 to 22 rows up for a total of 26 rows, including the brim, would give you a toddler size. So I will meet you guys in the next. All right, you guys, so I completed my 19. I have my 19th row on my needles. I just wanted to show the comparison of what the toddler size looks like compared to the adult size. So they look similar in size, but they're not. Anyways, I decided for the toddler, like I told you previously, the toddler sizes, all toddler size have different size heads. So between 19 and 22 rows would be perfect for a toddler size, not including the brim, the 6 rows for the brim. So for the toddler that I'm making this for, I am going to add 2, possibly 3 more rows to this, just to fit her specific measurements. Otherwise, you can try this if you're making it for your child. You can put it on. I'm sure it'll fit great. Otherwise, if you have exact measurements that someone gave to you, if you're making it for somebody else, you can totally adjust how many rows you need for that. But this is generally a perfect size. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to quickly do my 2 to 3 last rows, and then I'm going to show you guys how to tie. If you guys understood how to tie from the adult size that I did earlier, then perfect, kudos, you can be done with the video. Otherwise, I'm going to show you guys that once again, because twice is better than one anyway. So I'll show you that, and then you guys would be done with your Mama and Me super cute Eisel knits. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I know I get a little descriptive and I go on and on about details, but some people learn better that way. I know I do, so I typically like to teach that way. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I will see you guys at the end. All right, you guys, so I've completed my 22 rows. What I'm going to do is I cut off a tail. I'm going to show you guys how to just tie up the top. One more time. It's the same way that we did the adult size. I just wanted to show you guys once more. So what I like to do is put it in between each stitch. So carefully and slowly, I like to insert it in the middle of each. Of course, when I want to do something, something goes wrong. All right, so I insert it. I'll do a couple at a time instead. Pull through. Carefully insert. Pull through. And I'm going to continue working my way all the way around. Make sure it goes through evenly through each hole. All right, now I'm going to carefully push my needle out. All right, I'm going to pull it shut. I'm going to hold the top part just like this, and I'm going to insert it a couple more times through the top holes. Trust me, all of this is necessary. It ensures that the beanie will last for years. I've actually taken apart a beanie and it was almost impossible, so that's how you know these are. Make a knot, pull. I like to take this off. Double knot. Double knot. Show you how to do the bottom real quick. So I normally like to, this uneven part, I'll pull the tail through, flip it inside out, and then I will knot it in the back side of the brim. And just weave in the rest. And there you go. Toddler size needle. Super cute. A mama and me. Just adorable. I can't wait to give these to the owners. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you found this video to be informative, I'd love for you to give it a thumbs up. And if you guys want to see more, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because I got lots of good videos coming up. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace.